The Cocktale Hour with L.A. Wade.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cocktale Hour. It's a space for intimate yet sobering conversations with influencers in popular culture, business, tech, wellness, and social impact. And today we are welcoming Kedar Olumide, a holistic wellness and nutrition coach. Now, before we get to speak with Kedar, I want to let you know about our sponsor and who's presenting the Cocktale Hour, none other than Business Takeout. Business Takeout is a not-for-profit social enterprise, and our mission is to increase Black wealth and empower Black entrepreneurs. So, with that being said, welcome, Kedar. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. We've spoken on a couple of my platforms now, and so there must be something special about what you have to say and what you have to bring to the table. So it's really great to get to know you better in a different light, kind of your entrepreneurial self. Go ahead, sweetie.
I'm just happy to be here. I'm thankful, grateful, and honored to be on your show. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. You know, you always present in this very peaceful manner, right? And I don't know if you've always been that way. What gives you that sense of peace?
Just, confidence in myself and just have an understanding of who I am as a person. And, just, believe it or not, like right now I'm dancing on the inside. So it's kind of like mixed feelings, but overall, I know it's going to work out, so I just deal with it.
So is the dancing an anxiety or is the dancing excitement?
It's excitement. Yeah, excitement. What's to come?
What has you excited?
Just everything on the table. I recently became certified in holistic wellness and nutrition, and got a couple of business ventures that I'm also into, and everything's on the up and up.
Of course, everything's going to open up, and you're intentional about most things. Now we have a lot of Caribbean people over here in Toronto, and so I want to let you know that when I spoke with you a couple of months ago, you told me that you have about 10 different jobs, and I'm like, is this guy Jamaican? You're from Tennessee, but I swear you're Jamaican. You have 10 jobs. What is up with all of these jobs? Why are you touching a little bit of everything? Tell us about that.
Well, I like to stay busy for one. I try to. I like a flow of cash. I like a flow of income, and the different streams I do have are pretty good. So just tend to stay in those and keep the money coming.
Okay, so this platform is about empowering people and learning about what makes people who they are. And I want to kind of take like a parallel journey. So there was Kedar, who started off from when he was little up to wherever he is now, that kind of went on a life journey. But paralleling that were different initiatives that Kedar would take place in and participate in as he aged. Now, when you think about those moments in your life, how do they come to be? And can you take us on a journey through, certain pivotal moments in your life that led you to where you are today? And you can start as early as you can. If you're 5 and you had a lemonade stand, talk to us about the lemonade stand.
Well, I was always in like gifted programs when I was younger. I loved reading, and so that driving me to read. I was in kindergarten reading on the second grade level, according to the teachers and my mother, of course. So, but I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed studying history and different things. And from that point, I was into a lot of different cultural things here at home, different choirs and so forth, and different things that kind of attached to my creative side. And once I became about 16, I kind of, I guess you could say went left, because I went away from the norm or what everybody thought I would, go into as far as music, which was my passion. Mm-hmm. And I stepped into trying to learn more about myself and having a knowledge of self and understanding a lot more of who I am as a person.
Okay, hold on a second. So you're anywhere from the ages between 0 and 16, and you were advanced. You loved to read. You loved history. A lot of cultural influence. Did you travel as a young child? Where would that come from? Because most Americans that I know are are kind of relegated to where they grow up. They don't travel too much outside of the US, at least statistically speaking. And so were you exposed to travel at a young age?
Absolutely. With the choir I was in, we would go different places, different places out of the country, of course, within the country, but most notably Germany. I had the opportunity to go to Germany when I was younger. And, of course, that exposes you to a different element, a different way of life. But as far as the journey part and as far as the travel part, had a couple of different experiences when I was younger that kind of helped me, stay the course and steer my path as it is right now.
That's amazing. So travel was a big part of that 0 to 16, along with you being gifted. Is that from your mom or your dad?
Wow. I would like to say it's from my mom.
Of course you would like to say.
I
don't want to give your dad any props.
No props at all. I mean, in no disrespect, of course, but I grew up in a single parent home, and my mother raised 2 boys on her own, did a wonderful job. So all credit, all praise, it goes to her.
What do you think you did the most about, like, what do you remember the most about how your mother what did you appreciate about how she was with you as a child? Because, I have 2 boys as well, but I only can hope that they will grow up and speak about me in the way you just did speak about your mother.
I had a very, not use past tense, I have a very determined mother. She was very hands-on with us, very influential in our everyday. And I'll just give a story really quick.
Yeah, not really quick. This is what we're here for.
All right. So we were playing basketball at the boys' club, and me and my brother were on a team. And midway through the season, the coach quit. Now, my mother, who had never coached a game in her life, she enjoyed basketball, but never had a role in, coaching and things like that, volunteered to coach. So she coached for the rest of the season. We ended up winning the championship.
Stop this.
She won Coach of the Year.
I think I should be interviewing your mother.
You should. Yeah, she's a very interesting personality. But she won Coach of the Year. I mean, the plaque is still on the wall or whatever. Like she took pride in being able to do that for her boys. So I just think that determination and that will to succeed was always instilled in us from a young age.
I love it. And these are things that you have been able to. You may not have had business between 0 and 16, but I can see how that would be a great building block towards building business. So now we're at 16 and above, and what's happening in the next pivotal moments of your life?
Well, 16 and above, I get exposed to the New York form of hip hop. Now, I listened to it before, of course, because you had the early presence of KRS-One and so forth.
Where were you before? You weren't from New York?
No.
Okay, so where did you grow up?
Tennessee.
You did grow up in Tennessee. Okay.
Grew up in Tennessee.
And you were exposed to New York hip hop in Tennessee.
Absolutely.
KRS-One in particular.
KRS-One, Eric B. and Rakim, just to name a few. Big Daddy Kane.
Right. I understand why you couldn't resist the love.
Yeah. I mean, it's an attractive culture, and when I first heard Poor Righteous Teachers. And they were speaking on.
Oh my God! You pulled out Poor Righteous Teachers.
Poor Righteous Teachers.
All my hip hop heads that are watching. I don't know who's watching on Facebook and YouTube, but if you know what it is, you know what it is.
Right. Those guys were speaking a different language in their hip hop, in their music.
Right.
And one thing they kept referring to was knowledge of self, God and earths and things like that. And I was like, let me dive and see what that's about, because they were not just speaking that in their language, but they carried themselves differently from a lot of the rappers who I've been exposed to. Even Eric B. and Rakim, they were dropping little gems here and there. So just that those principles associated with that form of hip hop, they started sticking with me and resonating at an early age.
Amazing. Were you ever influenced, or have you ever become influenced by any Canadian MCs?
Wow. No.
Put you on the spot, right? I'm so glad you weren't like Drake.
Well,
you know why I'm saying this, right?
Drake had this one song that I liked, "Say What's Real." I think it came out when he first came out. That was one of the songs that I was like, all right, this guy has potential. But I mean, since then it's been kind of like,
I feel you. You know why I'm asking is because one of the times we spoke, you named a Canadian artist, not an MC, but you really enjoyed a Canadian artist that we're all looking for.
Yeah, Remy Shan. Remy Shan.
Remy Shan. You were a fan of Remy Shan.
Remy Shan is dope. And what attracted me to him, back then, of course, you had the words in the CDs.
Right.
And I learned that he played all the music, all the instruments rather, and that he patterned the album off of Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" album.
Right. Remy's album is dope, and we can find Remy.
I misspoke. Hear My Dear Marvin Gaye album.
I see. So music is an influence in your life. How does that formulate like your mood, your vibe, and how you attack or see the world?
Man, music is so dynamic in words and music and form and expression. Growing up and being in several choirs and solo groups. Not solo groups, but different groups and stuff like that were pretty influential as far as finding a melody for myself. And anytime I feel stressed or anytime I feel some sort of uneasiness, I can always go back to music, or I can pinpoint a song that I listened to before that took me to a different place. And I thoroughly enjoy music.
I love that. That was poetic. You said something about find a melody for yourself.
Yeah.
That's deep. At least I think of it as deep.
Right.
Okay. So you, and I'm not sure how music plays into how you continue to develop, but what age group are you there where 90s hip hop in New York has actually, it would be 80s hip hop in New York. You're talking about KRS-One and Poor Righteous Teachers. It wasn't really the 90s.
It wasn't really the 90s. No. Like early 90s. You had. I know for me in particular, and the guys I hung out with, we really thought we were from New York in the way we dressed, the way we spoke. We would, have the chew sticks that the guys would have in the videos and things that weren't, native to Tennessee. But it was during the time frame of about 15 to maybe 18 years old when I began to get exposed to that.
15 to 18. Okay. And so are you thinking of business at that time? When does business begin to enter into your life?
I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but the side that as far as business concerned is it comes out more so in my 20s.
Okay.
And this was like before a lot of things were popping off with e-commerce and things like that. I was thinking of ways to kind of bring hip hop to other people, via the internet. And one idea I had, and I kind of launched a website based on it was, I'm trying to think of the name of it again. supportyourown.com. So what it was is it was an online platform for local artists to sell their music to, the people within the city at a set price, kind of like how Spotify is today or whatever.
Right.
This was back, during my 20s. So you
had this idea, and how the story is going to go later is that a black man really created this platform, but it was stolen because he didn't patent it first.
Right. Didn't patent it, so can't be mad. Can't be mad.
Okay, so that leads me to a question, because for me and a lot of people that are watching that are starting businesses, we seem to have a lot of ideas. We have unlimited, ways that we think about doing businesses. So what is it that you have finally done to kind of curve it into structure? Is it fear? Is it a lack of confidence in your ability? What stops you from following through and getting that patent first?
Wow. To be honest, it's just it was pretty much getting tired of working for other people. And I saw myself making them money. Not that I wasn't being paid a good amount,
right,
but making them more money, of course, than what I was getting paid, which that's how employer-employee goes. But I reached a point where I was like, I need to do this for myself. I'm smart enough to do so, and just go for it. So that's pretty much a launching pad.
Yeah. So let me give you some freedom here. We don't want you to you don't have to be the expert in this conversation. We can just talk about the struggling parts and then what happened on the other side of the struggle. So if you think back, if you're in your 20s now and you've lost the patent for Shopify and maybe Napster or something like that, iTunes, your next big idea, what did you do? What did you struggle through to get it off the ground finally?
Well, I developed a beard oil for myself.
A beard oil?
Beard oil, yeah. And I still sell it to this day, but that was like my first project that I went fully through with, and was able to get it off the ground and kind of go from there. But yeah, my beard oil became my baby as far as designing the logo, the marketing aspect, reaching out.
Do you do that yourself?
Yeah.
So do you, because I'm finding that as a new entrepreneur, I need to do a lot more than I know how to do. And that makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, you know what I learned is that sometimes it's really good to delegate too. And I had a lot of different ideas that got off the ground a little bit. But had I delegated some of the parts that some of the moving pieces, they probably would still be be up to today. But I took it upon myself to do everything on my own because I said I can, but that wasn't the smart move in the beginning with some of the things.
So you're upset that you went and did everything yourself. So you would have, if you could do it again, you would hire somebody different?
I would know when to ask for help.
So knowing that, at
Yeah.
what stage in creating a business do you get help? Because a lot of times in the beginning, you're doing so much by yourself.
Absolutely.
At what point do you then have to bring new people in to help you?
You know what, the business plan aspect, because a lot of ideas we have, we like to just run with them. We don't necessarily think about how to scale a business or how to necessarily grow a business, projections and things of that nature. But the business plan aspect is very important. Without at least seeing why you're in business, who your target audience is, and so forth, it's probably doomed to fail. And I got some advice from. I finally hired a financial advisor, but he's also into business as well. And he gave me some key advice, and he said, if everyone is your customer, no one is your customer.
If everyone is your customer, then no one is your customer.
No one is your customer. Yeah, because you have to narrow it down and kind of see who your target audience is and who your target market is.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to start a cocktail bar, because a lot of times people come in here and drop some gems, and I'm going to have a cocktail bar that people can go back to and grab those gems again, because that's a big one. And it's interesting that the first person you hired for your business was a financial advisor, whereas a lot of people might choose like marketing or, a graphic designer. But instead you were like, that stuff I'll try to struggle through and figure out myself.
Right.
I got to get my money right.
Right.
Have you ever employed a business coach at any time?
I've not. And I was going to hint at that as well and just say, like, different aspects of the business call for, different people.
Yes.
Being new to business, of course, I wasn't an expert at all, but I thought if I read enough books or saw some, different verbiage or videos or whatever, that would help. And it did to a degree, but not, fully. And it cost me a little bit in some of the businesses I had before.
How so?
Well, they're no longer up and running. So.
So that's another big thing, is that we can start and stop so many different projects, side projects. And is it that we're looking for something, or were you looking for something to catch and you were just trying a bunch of different things? Or were you really just focused on, like, what was that process for you like?
Well, it definitely was that. It was, because again, my target audience was everyone. So I thought I could just, cast the net out of different products and things like that. And whoever bought it, who didn't, they didn't. But again, I had no real focus on as far as who the target audience is and why they were. But I made a lot of mistakes early on in business. And
what kind of mistakes? Tell us.
I mean, just from the aspect of again, trying to do everything on my own. From building the website to doing the marketing to designing the logo to, just everything that I thought I could do, I did without, any expert help or any advice because I felt I knew it.
And do you think that was your reason for your so-called failures?
Yes. And, I try not to label them as failures. I see them as opportunities to improve. Because
yes.
I learned something from it,
that's just my way of thinking about failure. I think of failure as opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you did try to do everything yourself. I'm in a place where I'm having to try everything myself, and I'm not good at everything. So I understand. But you're also very, resourceful, and you believe you can do things that maybe you're saying now you can't do. But people don't have a lot of money in the beginning. So what is it that you do to gain some capital or some workflow? I think this is maybe where your 10 jobs start to enter into the scene.
Exactly. One of my many passions is I'm also a barber, and I've been cutting hair for a while. And I've been fortunate enough to, be able to save the money that I was making cutting hair because I didn't have to touch it because I always had another job or was doing something else.
Right.
That money came in handy when it was time to launch certain businesses, and very, very helpful.
Okay, so you are a business owner and how is this going to be different this time? And also talk a little bit about the jobs that you hold and how you utilize investments to continue cash flow for you while you're working.
Wow.
It's a loaded question, but and you can take it a little bit at a time because, there's no rush. We're just having a conversation. You can ask me questions. We can go through this in any way that feels comfortable. But I think I really want to tease apart the journey of what you've gone through and what opportunities you got from these experiences.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest thing I'm doing differently now is understanding that you have to have a business model. You have to have, planning. You have to have, most importantly, dates and timelines to get things done, which I didn't have with any of my previous endeavors. Currently, I'm like you said, doing a multitude of things. I'm also an accounts receivable manager, for a company. I'm a contractor position with that. Barbering and website design.
I think you also dabble in real estate, no?
No, not in real estate.
Oh, you're not into real estate. Okay.
I'm also an electrician, a little bit, kind of, sort of. So during COVID, I went to school and received an entry-level industrial electricity certification. So I can perform certain duties or whatever, but I was looking at that for more of a money aspect and not necessarily a career changing, life journey type aspect. So I still do, work from here time to time, but not necessarily on a full-time basis.
I think it sounds like autonomy is really important to you in your journey. Has that always been the case? And talk to me about how you feel in regards to autonomy.
I think it's definitely been the case. I'm not an in the front person or in the front type of person. I like to kind of, work behind the scenes and make some things happen. As far as it's being beneficial or not, I can't really say that it's not been beneficial or that it has been. But I think if I took more of a hands-on approach and an in-person approach to a lot of different things, then I would be quote unquote more successful in some of my other endeavors.
Like, what do you mean? What does it look like to take a more hands-on approach?
Well, from the marketing aspect, for instance, in some of my earlier businesses, I would just, put different things up. I wouldn't necessarily show myself. I wouldn't show, the progress or myself modeling, for instance, I had a hat and t-shirt line. I would just, kind of put them on other people or just put the hats and shirts and, take photos and from a product standpoint. But I find it better now to, definitely be more in front of the camera, which I'm slowly getting used to. And taking a more hands-on approach that way, as far as marketing, as far as controlling the business and making sure that things are happening in a more strategic and well thought out, design.
Do you ever get paralysis analysis or analysis paralysis?
Absolutely, absolutely. Primarily because I work with numbers pretty much every day during the week, and so I'm always thinking about something. But when it comes to my own personal business, I can kind of freeze up on certain things.
So you can advise other people, but you can't take your own advice?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know why. It's very, when I think about it, it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you some questions about your holistic wellness and nutrition coaching, and to continue the vein of, the moments in your life that parallel both, like, your personal life and your business life. It feels, from what I know about you, very natural for you to become this person, this holistic wellness and nutrition coach. But what clues were there along the way that helped you get to this place now?
I guess seeing a need for more holistic, more, homeopathic individuals in our community to kind of, step out front, especially Black men. We are definitely in need of more Black men out there, teaching and talking about the importance of nutrition, the importance of health and wellness, and it kind of takes some of the stigma off of Black men speaking out about different things pertaining to health. Whether it's mental health or whatever. Yeah. Yeah,
I remember that. So Black men is working with Black men is a passion of yours, but you also were very strong in kind of like an environmental way, which obviously leads to the holistic aspect. And I believe you're vegan.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So does everybody have to become a vegan just to, be healthy?
You know what? The short answer is yes. And, unless you're growing and raising your own, animal products, then yes. Yeah. There are a lot of chemicals and things that go into the production. And I say production of, because it really is a production, but the production of meat products in the States and around the world.
Do you remember when you were younger, what it was you saw that moved you to care about the environment so much?
I've always been a nature-based person. I've always enjoyed being, in nature and being in a position of, near some water or near trees.
But what was your exposure to it? Where did that come from?
So I was in Costa Rica for a little while, and one of the beaches I was visiting at on a particular day, it's like a wall of trash just came in on a wave.
In Costa Rica?
In Costa Rica.
Oh no!
I was like, something's not right about this. It's not supposed to be just trash and stuff like that. But you could see that the most of the litter had come from the beach itself. It had been washed into the ocean and just coming back and forth. So people were littering, and the trash was getting put into the ocean. And I said, I have to do something. So that particular day, I did some research and went to. At that time, I had Facebook, I believe, and I showed a picture of the ocean floor, and it had tires and computers and big pieces of metal and whatever. Definitely can't be healthy for the animals, living in the ocean, but especially for us if we're, consuming the water or whatever we're doing. It can't be healthy overall.
No, it can't be healthy. So was your mom a proponent of this? Was it pushed in the school? You're much older in Costa Rica, I'm assuming. I don't like where are you here?
I was, this was in 2007. So this was in early 30s. So
early 30s.
Yeah.
So that's, and then, so this environmental push came, is that the same time that you became vegan, or were you always vegan?
That's around the time I became more plant-based. Yeah, I cut out chicken and beef initially, and those are the hardest two they say to let go of. I'm sorry, pork. Pork was at 16. I stopped eating pork around 16.
Was there a reason for that choice?
I just didn't like it anymore. I went to bite one day and I was having pancakes and bacon, and it's like, It didn't do anything for me. So
which one was harder to let go of, the steak or the chicken?
The chicken. I mean, of course, that's going to be the hardest for. The chicken was definitely hard to let go of at a certain point.
So when you smell it now, is there like an urging to go back and just try a little bit?
I mean, it still smells good. It still smells, great. But I can come home and make the same type of dish, with cauliflower or some sort of other vegetable. So I get the same taste, because that's pretty much what it is. It's a taste. I think if people ate bland chicken, they would probably find it disgusting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would. Not everybody, but some people would.
Right.
Right? Okay, so I'm trying to understand from here. So it's clear that the early 30s till now has fundamentally changed your life in terms of how you choose to live, what you put your attention on, how you present yourself. You spoke on my late night talk show about the importance of taking off Sundays as a day of social media break. How do you situate your life in a way that gives balance while you're also doing work?
I just prioritize myself more. I prioritize sitting still. I prioritize being alone with my books or with some music. Just more things that are beneficial for me and not necessarily the world. Even on Sundays, I for the most part shut off all electronics. If it's not raining, I try to be outside. If it's something that I can do as far as travel to a different waterfall, locally or something, I always try to do that. But it's just different things that I do for myself because I prioritized, my health and my wellness.
So you've never been caught up in like the party life. So you didn't have that kind of pull between becoming this intentional, more present male versus the male that's like hypersexual. Did you ever go through a phase like that? Was there a transition when you were just, really out there in these streets?
No.
What? You were never out there in these streets?
I was never, ever out there in the streets. I can remember my cousin having my cousin. I'm not going to give names, of course, but he was legendary for his birthday parties, and during his parties, some things were going down, and I would kind of be like
some things
were going down.
That included women.
Multiple women.
Oh, multiple women. Okay.
And I would observe, and I'm like, that's not for me. As far as the different, you had menages going on, you had different orgy type situations going on, but for whatever reason that never appealed to me. I think primarily because I saw the majority of my friends coming out of high school, and they had multiple kids. Some of them
out of high school, multiple kids.
Yeah, I was dating a young woman that was pregnant in middle school. She had a first child in middle school. So I'm like, when this is.
Wait, you chose to date a girl who was pregnant in middle school?
She was bad though. Yeah, she was bad.
She must have been bad.
She's pretty bad.
What? I don't understand. Like, how old are you?
I am. Let's see. That was 16. Yeah, 16.
16. Middle school and at 16. That's what you call middle school. Okay, I'm thinking like way younger. So that's why I was like, that's
like what 8th grade, I believe, and going into high school. So we started dating around that time, and we became like high school sweethearts or whatever. During the duration of high school.
So what made you leave her if she was so bad?
We were off and on, but she was in the streets. She was in the streets for real.
Even after the child.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I'm saying that respectfully. I'm not.
I'm not saying you're running people's. I mean, women can choose to do what they want to do, and I know you're a proponent of that. You're pretty balanced with the masculine and feminine energy over there, which leads me into. And I want to just shout out all the people that are so. I'm so humbled when people want to follow anything that I say or do. So shout out to everybody on Facebook. I saw you, Sheldon, Rose, Shanta, I think there was somebody else. Oh, Carrie, nice to see you. I can't remember what they were saying. Maybe we can get some of those comments up. But there's a lot of pride that people have in what you've done in your journey. Showing up in our power by controlling our image is powerful. That's from Carrie Gowring. She's a great sex therapist in the city. Rose is sending lots of hearts because I'm sure she's seen us have many a conversation on Instagram. You know, you are true to who you are. Sheldon says good vibes. So I appreciate all the people that are coming up, and I give him so much props for being able to make this change. I think she was talking about the vegan change and the environmentalist change, and how that led into even how you understand relationships and your own relationships. And how did all of that lead into you wanting to start a wellness business now, who I think you want to now work with the woman you've chosen to partner with in life and in business? Well,
yeah. So again, the need for, because I look at most of our elders that are currently, you know, teaching, health and wellness, and they're getting up there in age. So I looked at it from two standpoints. Like, we have to have people in place to kind of carry that torch, and then also health and wellness is a necessity for Black people. You know, the number one killer for most of us is heart disease, which is something that can be prevented. It can also be reversed, you know, with the proper diet. So, you know, having that sense of awareness as far as health is concerned, it kind of helped, you know, push the envelope as far as my desire to go into that. And I wasn't looking at it from a business standpoint. When I first, you know, started diving into it, it became more of a passion. I mean, you know, me, myself, I tend to take care of myself pretty good. And I see, you know, my clients, my male clients whose hair I cut. And, you know, no matter the age group, you can kind of tell that their diet and nutrition is kind of lacking. So for me, it became a no-brainer. You know, we need some work as far as the nutrition is concerned.
Yeah, I think that you are doing one of the rules of business is you find your passion or the thing that you would do anyway for free. And if you can make money from it, you would be very happy. And from the man that I see you to be, you know, everything to do with holistic wellness is what you kind of predicate everything from. And so what is it that you continue to look for then? Like from here, knowing that you've started businesses before and they didn't really go the way you wanted. I feel like business owners have to make this transition from a place of working in their business to working on their business. And tell me a little bit about how you are going to navigate that difference. And are you even aware that there's a difference between those two places?
Well, you know, definitely aware. One of the things that I've decided to do was let go of the contract that I signed on to as far as the accounts receivable manager is concerned. And I'm just going to dive fully into, you know, the health and wellness because I feel like it's a necessity. I feel like I can, you know, lend, you know, both a voice and an ear, you know, to you know, my friends and people I know, and you know, other people around the country as well. But as far as that understanding between the difference, there definitely is a difference when it comes to, from my standpoint, your own business and someone else's business. And then when you try to, you know, dive into your own, it really takes time. It takes a lot of work. And, you know, for me, shedding that contract I put myself under to focus more on, okay, what does this business look like in the future? What does it look like now? You know, what do I need to get it off the ground and so forth? That became a necessity more so than the financial aspect of the current business I'm helping with.
What would you say is hindering your progress in moving in a faster direction? Like if you want to manifest, you want to do the things you want to do. And so what are you doing to make that happen? I see you, Rasan.
Well, what I'm doing right now, so initially, because I'm an Aries, and I know we discussed about that the other day, but I like to go headstrong and really quick into things. So I've kind of slowed myself down and I'm pacing myself so to have a better understanding of, you know, the why I'm doing health and wellness, of course, and who I want to target the most.
But doesn't that keep you tied to your 10 jobs?
Well, it does, but as time goes on, and I've made some choices, Sunday, this past Sunday, that I'm slowly, shedding some things as far as, the other jobs are concerned.
And your shedding process came about from what realization? That
this is more important than any of those other things, first and foremost.
This holistic wellness and coaching. Yeah. Have you coached anyone as of yet? And what was that process like? If somebody wanted to coach with you, what would they be experiencing?
So far I've had two volunteers, because I really couldn't promote it until I became certified, of course. But I had two volunteers that I worked with. One in particular, I developed a meal plan for, a plant-based meal plan, of course. And we're working to get blood pressure down and diabetes in check.
So do people come to you with so I don't know if I recommend this book to all business owners. It's called The Trusted Advisor. And it basically takes you through different levels of relationship with you and not only your staff, but also like with clients. And the idea is to try to get them to a place of trusted advisor. So when I come to you and I don't know anything about you, I'm coming for a service, right? And then working with you is really great. So I'm happy with the service that I'm getting. I want to lose 10 pounds. You help me give me this diet. I lose 10 pounds. I could go then find somebody else or leave you and be on my way. But the idea is to have return clients or more value that you can provide to the people that come into your business, right? So you want to get them to another level where maybe I'm creating a need. You've shown me a different way to think about nutrition and I don't have the expertise. So now I need to come to you for this thing if I've identified that value and prioritization in my own life. But ultimately, the idea is to come to a trusted advisor phase where we hardly even talk about nutrition anymore. Now we're friends in a sense. You're staying at my house in Cabo because I have friends coming in and we need a nutrition plan for the event. That type of thing. I'm thinking big. You have to envision these things.
Absolutely. You have to.
Right. So when you think about trusted advising and your own business, taking your time is one way of ensuring, and you're very meticulous, as you said, you like to do a lot of reading. So are you going to be intentional looking at through this idea of trusted advisor? What are ways that you can construct building that kind of trust with your clients?
Well, so for me, everything begins with nutrition. And, once you get the nutrition in order, the overall wellness can be, developed from that point. So the first initiative is to make sure that the nutrition is in balance. For people that can't give up, meat for whatever particular reason, doesn't mean that I can't, work with you. But I would definitely, put a plan together that incorporates more vegetables and fruits than anything else. As far as like an ongoing, session and trusted advisor, if you will, that's where the wellness comes into play. And this can include nature walks. It can include hikes. It can include some sound healing, at some point. But just different things that will help not just keep people engaged, but also let them know that, I truly care about, your health and well-being overall. And it doesn't stop with, just the diet plan or whatever. Let's stop saying diet, by the way. That's a bad
word. Live it.
Live it.
Live it.
Yeah,
Don't diet.
No, we don't want to diet. But yeah, ultimately just having things in place to kind of, keep people aligned and also let them know, like I said, that I'm there for them, past a certain point. But if my job is done well, if my service, I guess, is done the way I want it to, I do prefer and do intend to lose, different clients at some point, because at that point, they're able to take care of themselves. And at that point, they can refer other people. So it recycles, maybe not necessarily with that same client, but with potential, clients from that particular client.
Yes, referrals is a big deal, especially in your kind of business.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Like nutrition is such a tough thing because I feel like people don't prioritize it. So what kind of contingency plans or ideas are you coming up with to engage? Will you have a brick and mortar space? Will you do retreats? Will you hold events? What is the plan for how you want, and how did you come to that understanding?
Yeah, I mean, definitely going to have some retreats, going to have some events. We're developing one right now called Lovers Rock. And the first one will be in Puerto Rico.
Hey!
And we're looking at taking some couples down and working with them from, the female aspect, the male aspect individually, and then from a couple aspect.
What does that look like?
I'm not going to share a little bit.
Okay, well, like, what do you mean by a male aspect and a female aspect? What does that mean?
We're going to separate the couples, if not daily, every other day, and kind of work with them individually to kind of see where they are, spiritually, nutrition wise, and how we can incorporate some of the things that are key to not just your overall health, but the health of the relationship. And then from that point, kind of put them back together. We got some special things planned to kind of help facilitate that, and hopefully some beautiful things happen at that point.
So I guess you can't tell us the secrets you have. So what do you want to bring to the wellness space? I know that Black men is a passion of yours. And I remember you said something yesterday, or I can't remember when it was we spoke actually, but you said something about you can't stand the statement, we've come so far.
Yeah.
So in relation to Black men and women relationships, is that what you were referring to? Or what is it that you can't stand about coming so far?
Well, just the contentment overall. I think, and I'm speaking for myself too. Once I get to a certain point, like if I'm working out and I start to see, some muscles and stuff come in and my stomach is shedding or whatever, I have a tendency to stop because I'm like, I've reached a certain point. Well, I'm speaking like early on.
Okay.
I have a tendency to stop, and say, I'm done. My work is done. I can see results, but ongoing results and ongoing commitment is also key too. And so when we say we've come so far, that's true, but that can also lead to a bit of contentment and not necessarily looking at the future from where we are today and seeing how we can grow even more as a people, not just from a health standpoint, but spiritual wise and also community wise.
We've come so far. What did we come far from?
I'm assuming slavery and Jim Crow.
You're assuming slavery.
Things that still kind of hinder us mentally today.
And where are we going? Where are we headed?
Wow. That's a great question.
I'm so happy. I love when people say that's a great question. Where are we going? I'd like to know.
Where are we going?
Because we talk so much about, what we should and shouldn't be doing, but nobody is talking about what it looks like. A big part of the healing, why healing hurts is because it disturbs your contentment, right? Absolutely. So if you're going to disturb the contentment, you better have a backup plan or you're going to go back to contentment.
Right.
So where are we going?
The one thing that I want people to understand is that, there is a great divide happening between Black women and Black men.
I thought you were going to say vaxxers and anti-vaxxers.
Those two. That's a bigger fish, but we're going to focus on what pertains to us, of course. But, yeah, the divide between Black women and Black men is growing. For whatever reason, it can be because of things that were set in place systemically, but a lack of trust, a lack of real. How do I approach a relationship? How is do I take time off after my last relationship, or how much time do I take off before I jump into another one? Just certain things that I think will kind of help us, not only heal ourselves, but also when we get into a new relationship or a new dynamic, it can be something that benefits both people involved.
So your wellness practice includes healing Black men and women in relationship, but also what you put in your body. Do you include recipes? Because when people transition from meat to veganism, it's It's pretty jarring because we feel like there's no recipes to sustain it. And like when you go out, it's like, what do you have to grab if you're just hungry? And you have to be such a planner to become a vegan as well.
Well, that's I don't want to say
a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah, I don't want to say a misconception. Because
really?
At some point it was always said, too, that it's more expensive, to go plant-based than to eat meat. But
I was being in the hospital.
Exactly. my point exactly. That's more expensive than, buying some kale or spinach and substituting some things out. But for the most part, understanding your body, understanding how you feel after you eat certain things. You can, talk right now and go have a hamburger after we speak. And, if you notice the difference in yourself, because it's going to be a difference. Maybe it's a full.
There's also this thing like with vegans that there's so much carbs, right? So carbs make you feel lethargic. So if I'm going off of how I feel, that's not going to be like the thing that makes me be like, oh yeah, let me become a vegan.
Well, it also depends on the carbs too, because a lot of people think that it's more so about eating pastas and things like that, which pasta's not bad to a degree, depending on the type of pasta. But if you're eating quinoa, you're eating things that kind of lentils and things that kind of help your body digest quicker, you're not feeling lethargic. That feeling only comes when your body is slowing down to digest more food than you're supposed to. Normally, like after the a Thanksgiving meal, they say it's called the itis.
Yes.
And you're having
familiar with the itis.
You're sleeping and you don't know what to do and your eyes are low.
Sheldon. My friend Sheldon Shaw knows all about the itis.
Right. It's serious. And I mean, it's not a bad thing, but just consider that your body, your intestines and your digestive system work a lot harder when it comes to meat and other processed foods, especially.
It's I'm sorry that we didn't talk about this earlier, but when it comes to things like diabetes, heart disease, I think in my family, at least, there's a large pancreatic cancer percentage. And that's not something that is really detectable in advance. But when you think about diabetes and how that's so prevalent in the Black community, I can see why pancreatic cancer can sneak up on people. So what are some of the nutrition tips or things that we can be thinking about in terms of relational wellness as you're almost finishing points here of what we can take away with us as a result of speaking with you today? Well,
for the most part, it's more so about the quality of food that we put into our bodies versus, versus anything else. Even if you're eating, a burger or you're eating, some fish or whatever. And I'm not advocating that, of course. I'm just saying if you can't, get off of meat, there's quality choices in that type of food too. A lot of our problems run into where we're eating more processed food, more fast food, and foods that are not really helpful to the body.
What are some ways to identify what's good and what isn't? And like, if we're not like a nutritionist, how are we identifying good beef versus bad beef?
Simply put, if it has a commercial, it's not good for you. If it has to be sold to you, it's not good for you from a food standpoint.
Yeah. If it has to be sold to you, so how else would you get it? Hunt it and kill it yourself?
Hunt it, kill it yourself, grow it yourself. But I mean, I'm speaking, particularly to McDonald's and those types of foods.
Right.
You rarely see a commercial for broccoli. You rarely see a commercial for lamb chops if you're into meat, of course. But you always see McDonald's, Burger King, and other things that are not really helpful at all to the body. Those foods that once they pass through, the body immediately tries to get rid of it because it's not. There's no nutritional value at all. So wow. The body's like, okay, this is foreign. What do I do with it? Oh, I can't take any nutrients because it doesn't have any. So let me just kind of pass it. So if you notice when you eat certain fast foods, it just goes straight through you. It doesn't sit. It doesn't, get broken down, for the most part. But it
makes you fat, so it's sticking somewhere.
That's the saturated fat, and it's adding to, your clogging arteries and things of that nature.
So that's the only thing that remains.
Yeah.
Great. So we basically need to choose foods that are not overly advertised to us. You're asking a lot of people. Don't you feel like I hope in your business you will start to consider, you're an anomaly. You grew up, or you were a child, you were gifted, you're reading all the time. That's not most people's experience.
Of course.
And so, while that's beneficial to hire you as an expert, so good for you for setting yourself apart that way. Your clients could potentially become frustrated with you because you're not realistic. You're not understanding their plight of having to juggle 3 or 4 jobs and have children that are needing some food really quickly at the end of the day. So would you say that maybe your business should be an organizing coach, because it sounds like you're saying that it's about organization and discipline?
Both comments. I mean, I'm pretty understanding when it comes to certain things. I'm not a harsh, rigid type person when it comes to understanding someone and where they are. I really do try to meet people where they are, on a spiritual level, a nutritional level, or whatever. But if to that particular family, I would say cook more instead of eating out more. You can prepare foods the day before. Not only does that do more for you as far as keeping down the amount of products in your food, but it also keeps your family together too. It brings your family closer. You can have meals together, and just kind of keep that family bond strong.
I think if you were going to have a business name, it should be the Idealist Nutritionist. Ideal Nutrition. That's you, because
that's a pretty good name,
right?
Yeah.
I want a percentage. Everyone out there knows that I just said that. So
it
doesn't have to be a large percentage, but
understood. Yeah.
I'll take a finder's fee or something like that. You're very calming, and it's such a switch from most people that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. But I think that it's an important presence to have and to hold. And how will you protect yourself against that marketing thing that wants to take you? Because you're attractive, you're an intelligent person, you're knowledgeable about the subject. So what will happen when people want to then market you? Will you be down for that in order to reach more people with your message? What are your plans for that?
Well, I mean, with anything, you have to have boundaries, and
damn word again.
I mean, but it's true, because not everything is a good thing. And, I know this is a bad term as far as business is concerned, but overexposure can be a bad thing too. And I'd rather do more work and have more satisfied people as far as the nutrition is concerned, their health is concerned, than being like the spokesman or being, too much out front. So, I would pick and choose carefully, what I decided to do from a marketing standpoint.
Okay. Lastly, what are you thirsty for? Everyone's thirsty for something. You've done a lot in your life. You've come to this place. What is it that you are thirsty for?
I'm thirsty for my villa in Costa Rica on the countryside.
And who's with
the beach? Her.
I love it. Yeah, I think that you two will be doing a lot of great work together. Do you have any last thoughts, or how can people reach you on social media?
I'm on Instagram at @ase_solfeggio. And that's pretty much it as far as social media is concerned. I do have a website coming soon as far as the holistic wellness is concerned, but I also have a podcast coming out too as well. So
what's it called?
It is called The Ever Evolving Sun. And
what is the ethos behind that?
It is the idea of the sun being or evolving over time from being a source of light, being a source of heat, being a source of life itself, to just being, and ultimately, shining and doing what the sun just does. And that's pretty much provide whatever we need, whether it's light, whether it's life, or whatever. But
love it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that as far as, reaching a different audience, and, mainly men. I need more Black men to kind of, tune in and get some info, and not be scared to admit certain things too. So.
Well, I think if they have you guiding them through the process, they're going to be okay. You're a wonderful presence. I thank you so much for being on the Cocktale Hour. And I want to give a thanks to Business Takeout, who, again, they're a not-profit social enterprise that has a mission to increase Black wealth and empower Black entrepreneurs. And sharing your journey is an important part of that. Even when you think that you don't have a lot to offer, the opportunities from the different things that we didn't continue has given us a lot to learn from. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. Stay thirsty. Always be a little bit thirsty for something. And we will see you next time on the Cocktale Hour.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Peace out, everyone. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.